Pathmonk is the intelligent tool for website lead generation. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. Pathmonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50%. Add Pathmonk to your website in seconds. Let the AI do all the work and get access to 50% more qualified leads while you keep doing marketing and sales as usual. Check us on pathmonk.com. Welcome to today's episode. Let's talk about today's guest. We have Dwayne Hoskins, Sales and Marketing Director there at Titronics Research and Development. How are you doing today, Dwayne?
Doing freaking phenomenal, Ernesto. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you on. And well, Dwayne, let's kick it off, right? Let's learn a little bit more about Titronics in your own words. Give us a little bit more.
Well, Titronics is a company that's focused on manufacturing assessment tools for the chiropractic profession. Specifically, it's thermography, which is taking the temperature and comparing the results, giving us, you'd have to understand chiropractic philosophy for me to go much further. But basically, it's a tool for chiropractors to find out what we're addressing in the office.
Definitely important. So then, what would you say is that key issue that you guys are solving for clients?
Our key issue is whether to adjust or not. If there's no vertebral subluxation present in the client, there's nothing to do for a chiropractor. And so we are one of those tools. You have X-ray, which was introduced to the profession in 1915, and then you have chiropractic, which the patent is in 1926, 1924, 1926. So this is a second technology in profession where we can actually see and tell if the spine is impinging or pressing and putting pressure on the nervous system. So this gives us actual up to the second data on whether the nervous system is being affected. So when you have a bone out of place and you have nerve interference, you probably have subluxation, and the chiropractor can make a decision then whether they go forward with the delivery of the adjustment and complete the visit. So it's a key component to doing what chiropractors say that we do.
Definitely important, right? Because I mean, they could just tell you, hey, you need an adjustment, but not knowing exactly how it needs to be done. Definitely, technology is always important, and mainly in your vertebrates, right? I think that's
well. I mean, when you're dealing with the control system of the body, the brain, stem, spinal cord, you got to be on it. You got to be correct. If you make a mistake, literally, lives are at stake.
Yep, and I mean, I'm assuming here, right? And sorry for the ignorance, right? But just gravity does a great, pressure on the body that I'm assuming a lot of people do need an adjustment.
Absolutely. Well, and my theology also goes back to a time when the world went from being absolutely perfect to being flawed and cursed. And so we deal with a limited ability to be perfect. And so, yes, and then we live around other people who aren't perfect, making stupid decisions. Just think about, us making it to 20 was a miracle. Us living to 80 is beyond comprehension, based just upon the traffic patterns in some of the major cities. How do we survive this long? And it's because our nervous system, our brain, was built to adapt to those stresses. And its total function is to adapt and absorb information so it can make the next best decision to thrive and express itself. And if the support and protection mechanism is not allowing it to do its job, we can't be healthy, we can't be well, we can't adapt like we were built to do. So yeah, it's very important. The chiropractic is part of everybody's game plan. The key thing is to realize that we're not part of medicine. So it's not solving a problem and going away until it comes back again. We're completely separate and distinct profession, completely separate and distinct licensing in every 50 states of the union, and most countries were under a separate licensing board. So separate and distinct profession. It's even beyond comparing it to dentistry or massage therapy or any of those other ones that are looking to make you better. It's about releasing the nervous system to do its job. And that has to be primary importance when you're thinking about how the body functions.
Okay, awesome. Great to hear that from you, Dwayne. Well, don't want to assume here, but so what your ideal ICP would be B2B businesses in the chiropractic segment?
That's our only is a business to business. I mean, we're selling to chiropractic individuals. The history of chiropractic profession, business wise, has been the solo practitioner. You have not seen any kind of franchises or associateships or anything like that, except for the last 10, 15 years. And obviously now the big one is the joint, which is nationwide, international, in fact. So that's coming away. But when the company was founded, that was unheard of. It was maybe 3 doctors in one office at the most. But it was usually the primary chiropractor and some new graduates learning the ropes. And that was even rare. It's mostly just solo practitioners. So yeah, directly from us to them. And we're a small company, and that makes it comfortable for that to happen.
Definitely. Perfect. Okay. So then how would a chiropractor usually find out about Titronics? Is there a top client acquisition channel for you guys?
Yeah, the primary way that most of our users find out about us is through their technique. Chiropractic has 150 different ways of delivering the adjustment techniques. There are some that require Titronics to be part of the process. It's part of their technique analysis, and it's part of what made them their technique. So in the clubs and the schools where they learn their technique, that's where they're going to be introduced to it. We have a few schools that actually incorporate it in their clinics. And so they're going to learn mostly about it in the school systems. And then from seminars and conferences where one of the leadership team is presenting, or some of our strong advocates in the profession are presenting what our instrument does to help the individual practitioner be on their game.
All right, interesting. Like so that way that our listeners who are tuned in could go and visit you and check you guys out. They could always visit you at Titronics.com.
Yep.
What role then does the website play for client acquisition?
We've used it as a support for our customer service, and also a repository of the decades of information that we have. The key players in chiropractic have been key players in the development of Titronics and our scanners for the last 40, 50 years. And so just the history and development of the profession, hand in hand with the history and development of thermography, the technology we're talking about here, is intense, and it's replete, and it's robust. And so it's a repository. It's kind of like a library to go to, but it's also where you can go find the drivers, you can find the supports, where you can file a ticket, where you can ask for a Zoom conference. So it's more of a landing spot more than a marketing outreach spot. And then so our website is used more on that type of purpose, and then use it to outreach to the general population.
Okay, awesome. Great to hear that from you guys. So well, let's switch gears then a little bit, Dwayne, and let's talk about you as a leader. You being the marketing director there for Titronics, what are some key tasks you like to focus on your day-to-day work?
Most of the day-to-day work is keeping in touch with our key technique partners and making sure they're happy and making sure they're up to date on, if there's a spot open at the next conference, that we can be on stage to update everybody on the current analytics that we have in our software, but also just to refresh them of the anatomy and physiology of what they're doing. When it comes to the thermals, the thermography that we measure, and the usefulness of it in practice. So it's a remembrance, a call to remembrance, but it's also instructing on the new analytics that we have. So that's the primary thing that I do, is just keep in touch with our good business partners. The main focus this year for me is getting into the schools that already support us and building up those programs to be cornerstones in what they teach. And then we've seen more chiropractic schools start in the last 5 to 10 years than I've seen in my entire profession. And so we used to have 16 or 17 chiropractic schools, period. And then in the last 5 or 10 years, we've had like 10 or 15 open worldwide. And so getting in with them at the ground level to help establish not our product, but the process of adding thermography to the flow of practice, so that this historically important part of our profession is number one kept in the profession, but also provides what it does to chiropractors, which lets them know, is the thing that I'm going to adjust actually there or not, and therefore do I adjust or not?
Okay, perfect, awesome. And well, then in the marketing world, how do you like to stay up to date with all the news, the trends, the strategies? Is there a preferred channel that you like to go with?
I would with all the stuff that I do, I'm an entrepreneur, and as well as this, I've got a full-time practice. Actually, I have the private practice I'm in now, and then I go down and serve the underserved on Tuesday and Thursday. So I've got a 5-day-a-week practice. I'm marketing and sales director for Titronics. I'm the CEO, user interface, user experience director for a company I founded 12 years ago that does EHR for chiropractors. And I'm executive director for the state association. So with all of that, plus my activities outside the profession, I wish there was one place to go that accumulated all that for me. But what I'm finding is communicating with my cohorts. They're keeping me up to date. My CTO from my EHR is keeping me up to date on some of the best practices for websites and social media marketing and e-marketing. But we're always looking to do the least expensive, highest return, find that good balance.
Mm-hmm.
A good friend of mine says you can have it quick, you can have it cheap, or you can have it good. Pick two. And so, try to find the quick and the good, or try to find the cheap and the good. Find those things, and then do as much that we can on a personal basis to get it done. Is the struggle that I find.
Yeah, awesome. Great insight there for our listeners. And well, let's jump into our next section then, Dwayne, which is our rapid fire question rounds. Okay. Ready for them?
Yeah, sure.
All right. First off then is, what is the last book that you read?
I'm actually not completely done with it, but it's a book called Lead by one of my favorites people in the world, Paul David Tripp. Not focusing, but it's about leadership. Specifically, it's about leadership in the Christian community and counseling and churches, but with any ancient knowledge, it's applicable across the board in anything. And so he's got some intense wisdom based upon his experience that talks to me based upon my worldview. And it's been applicable in all areas of my life. So it's something that I'm enjoying reading, and just can't wait to finish and start over here.
That's only okay. Great to hear that. Great read there for our listeners. Next up then is, if there would be no boundaries in technology, what would be that one thing that you want to have fixed for your role as a marketer today?
No boundaries fixed. I mean, as in corrected or set still?
Well, I mean, if it can improve, what would that look like for you?
I wish that people would apply the one another principles that make up my worldview. Is, not just look out for me, but what can I do for my profession? What can I do for my way of thinking? What can I do for my business competitors? What can I do to make all of our lives better? And then, set myself apart with a little bit of an edge that might be in this area that I really excel in, and let them excel in the areas they are. But if I find something that's revolutionary, there's no boundaries, like in AI, the ability to take massive amounts of information and synthesize it into a sentence or two. I should let my entire profession know about that. It's going to make the profession better. It's going to make the care that we render better. It's going to allow us to see more people, all of those things. But my focus may be in this one area. The last three letters of my credentials are the Academy of Chiropractic Philosophy. And I'm focused on how to take notes congruently, how to do things properly based upon our philosophy of chiropractic. Somebody else may be focused on, well, I want to file insurance, and so I want to make it this same thing, focus in a different area. So I think if we take what we learn and share it freely and focus on what we're good on, we're still going to excel. it's not a limited pie economy, including technology. Technology is constantly increasing the number of pies that we all have to share.
I would agree. Yep. So then, on that note, then, if there's one repetitive task that you could automate, what would that be?
Slapping chiropractors that are doing the wrong thing. No, did I actually say that?
No, well, we
no.
could edit it out.
No, keep it in there, please. I say it from stage. It's okay. I'm a big man, so not many people intimidate me. When it comes to automation, especially with technology, in junior high, I started programming a Commodore 64. Now, Ernesto, you probably don't even know what that is.
Yep. With that.
Okay, so it's one of the first, the TRS-80 from Tandy Radio Shack, which doesn't even exist anymore. I programmed the TRS-80 to do some things. We sold our first program before we got out of high school. We taught our high school teachers how to use the new Epson Equity 1E using MS-DOS. So I've been part of technology for a long time, and my way of thinking is I have an idea, the computer does the magic to make it happen. And so I've always been looking to automate things. The whole purpose behind my electronic health records for chiropractors was I don't want to fill out forms. I want to record what I do and then make the programmers do all the magic to fill out the form. Right? So it's to make our primary objective in that company is to have the chiropractor spend as little time with the technology so they can focus on their job, which is with the patient.
All right.
It's always been part of my life, yeah.
All right. And so, I mean, you have a lot of experience in the marketing world, in the chiropractic world. You know, they've fused as a founder, president as well, your own business. What would you say if you could go back in time and give yourself an advice? What would be that key advice that you would give yourself in order to make your marketing world a little bit better?
I think the first thing is to realize that marketing and sales are not the same. They're inextricably intertwined. The marketing gets you sales, and the sales process is totally different than your marketing plans. And then dive into Seth Godin's stuff as early and as deep as possible, and just stay immersed in anything that Seth Godin has to teach about reaching out to people and increasing your business awareness. So that connectivity with other people is going to get you, in my businesses, that connectivity and that ability to connect and the openness to connect is going to get you more sales than any outside marketing strategy could ever come up with. And so those two things, realizing that marketing and sales is not the same thing, separate skill sets, separate processes, one leads to the other. And then Seth Godin, all of his stuff is gold, and it needs to be studied and just bathed in on a regular basis.
Yeah, awesome. Great knowledge base there for our listeners. And well, we are coming to the end of our show here today, Dwayne. But before we do end, I do want to give you the last word. Say someone forgets everything about the interview today. What is that one thing they should remember about Titronics?
Titronics is there to help your chiropractor do the best job they can do for you, to determine whether you have subluxation, whether you feel like it or not, which is interfering with the full expression of who you are. The world would be a better place if all of us could express fully who we are and who we were meant to be, and subluxation gets in the way. Titronics helps your chiropractor see if it's there so they can help you get rid of it.
Definitely important. All right, awesome. Hey, well, Dwayne, it's been a pleasure to have had you on. To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm looking forward to our next episode at Pathmonk Presents. Thanks a lot, Dwayne.